CA. I have a file with data that I'd like to get into a data extension. Can you tell me the different options for importing and show me how to do those? Thanks! Great question. Let's go ahead and take a look at how to import data into a data extension. We'll go over doing it directly from your computer or from a file transfer protocol or FTP.
In this video, I'm going to be going over how to import data into a data extension in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So there are a couple different ways that you can do that. The first of which that we're going to talk about today is that you can upload directly from your device. So essentially you have a file on your computer you want to upload into a data extension. You can essentially go directly into your device to upload that data. And the second way we're going to be talking about today is how to import data through a file transfer protocol, or SFTP, through Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So before I get started, the first thing you're going to want to make sure that you have is your data, and that your data is clean and ready to go into your data extension, which you will also want to already have configured. So here you'll see in my data extension, I have created a sendable data extension with the 3 fields that correspond to my spreadsheet. So I have email, first name, and last name, and I've copied those verbatim, so it's a lot easier to map that data. Salesforce Marketing Cloud is able to have a one-to-one relationship to those column headers in your spreadsheet. And I've also saved my data as a .csv file. So just as a reminder, Salesforce Marketing Cloud doesn't support .xls files. You're going to need to have a CSV file. So I've saved this file to my computer, and I am ready to start importing. So I come in here to this record tab, and you'll see up here on the top left this import button, and that's going to take you into this import activity, and you'll see this first choice that you have is my computer. So FTP is what we're going to be talking about in a second, but we're going to go through the my computer method first. So we're going to leave that selected, and then we're going to come here to where it says file, and we're going to browse, and that's going to take us directly into our file foldering structure in our computer. And I have my file saved here, file import demo.csv, and I've selected that, and we're going to use comma as the delimiter because it is that CSV file type. And then we're going to say what kind of import type we want to use. And because we don't have any existing data in this data extension, it doesn't really matter what we use, but I tend to like to use overwrite in cases like this. I just think it's a little bit cleaner. But obviously you're going to want to select the import type that makes the most sense for your data. So add or update, add only, update only, or overwrite. We're going to skip rows in import file with bad data, and we're going to want to also select respect double quotes as a text qualifier. So essentially what this allows you to do is if you have larger copy blocks in your data that maybe contains quotation mark, it's going to respect that as a text qualifier rather than a delimiter. So then we're going to click next, and we're going to map our data from our data extension in to our spreadsheet. So there are 3 different ways you can do that. You can either map manually, so I'm essentially selecting which column from my data I want to correspond to my data extension fields. You can map by ordinals, so this is just a 1, 2, 3 relationship between your columns in your spreadsheet and your data extension fields. So it would match the first column to the first field in your data extension, and so on and so forth. And then we have map by header row, which I'm going to use for this import. I think generally this is another clean way to import your data if you're able to ensure that those column headers from your spreadsheet correspond exactly to the columns in the field names in your data extension. So I'm going to click next, and it's going to take me to this summary, and I also have the ability to add an email address to send a notification. So if I have a larger volume of data that I'm importing into a data extension, this is going to send me a notification once that import is complete. All right, so with that, I'm going to click import, and because we don't have a lot of data that we're waiting to import for this, it probably will not take very long at all. So essentially, yep, just got my email. So what I'll do is come back into that folder, let it refresh, and you can see, yep, I have a record count of 4, so it looks like my data is successfully imported. And in that notification email as well, if there was any kind of error, it would also let you know that. So just as a note about that notification email that you can receive when you complete an import. All right, so that concludes the import activity directly from your device. So next what we're going to do is walk through how to import from the FTP. So I'm going to go ahead and clear all of this data for re-import. And I'm going to pull up my FTP. So this is my file structure within my FTP, and I'm using CyberDuck here. There are several FTP clients that you can use, FileZilla. I tend to like CyberDuck, but there are a lot of options out there that you can choose from. And what you're going to want to do is make sure that the file that you're trying to import in your data extension is located in the import folder of your FTP. So I have that saved here as file import demo.csv, and I am going to come to the import activity again. So instead of choosing my computer, this time we're going to do FTP, and you're going to need to enter that file name exactly as it appears in the FTP. So again, I have file import demo.csv, and it is case sensitive. So just double check to make sure that that's typed correctly, although it will give you an error when you go to the next page if it for some reason contains a typo or doesn't correspond. And then we're going to choose our import type again, respect double quotes as text qualifiers again, and map our data to that header row again, just like we did a second ago. And then notifications, I'll send it to my email address again. And with that, we're off. And again, not a lot of data, so we can probably expect this to import very quickly. And yep, all ready for records. So hope this helps as you are trying to identify how to import your data into a data extension in Salesforce Marketing.
We reviewed a lot of information in this video. Let's go through it again together. We went over file requirements, making sure data is clean and the file is saved in the correct file type. Second, we went over importing a file from your computer. We looked at all the import options Salesforce Marketing Cloud have and all the mapping options we have to match fields from your file against those on your data extension. Finally, we learned how to import from an FTP. We pulled the FTP window to look at the file location. We learned that we must type the file name exactly as it appears on the FTP and that it is case sensitive. We looked into all import options and once again looked into mapping fields from the import file on the FTP against those in the data extension. Thanks for joining. For more quick tips, like our channel below.